All right, so first way to graph a line is with y equals mx plus b. If the equation is in y equals mx plus b form, you can graph right from there. If not, you need to rearrange the equation, right? When you're rearranging an equation, to put it into y equals mx plus b form, you need to make the y positive and all by itself. So if you were to look at the equations down here in the first example, none of them are in y equals mx plus b form. We would have to rearrange them. So we would have to make the y positive, which is it is already, and move everything else to the other side. Okay, so rearrange the equation, reduce any fractions. When you're rearranging, in examples like the second one, there's a coefficient of more than 1 in front of the y value. So there's a 3 in front of the y. You're going to have to divide everything by 3 at the end. We'll do this example together just to remind you because it's been a little while. Okay, so remember that if you're dividing, reduce any fractions. And then when you're graphing with y equals mx plus b, we begin with the y-intercept, the b, and we move by m. So the number in front of the x is your slope. You make it a fraction by putting it over 1, it's a whole number, and then you move up and over by the slope. We'll do those examples with these two equations down here. Give me a second to get that down. If you want to ignore the x and y intercepts, if you never use that method of graphing, don't write things down you're never going to use. Okay, if you like that as a method, feel free to put it down there. If not, that's okay. So let's rearrange these two equations. Equation 1. Is the y positive?
Yes.
Yes. So does it stay or does it move?
It stays.
It stays.
Move to
The 3x moves over here. So if I'm going to rearrange this, it would be y equals, change the operation, negative 3x plus 5. To graph that line, where do I begin?
5.
Good. Begin at 5. Jean, how do I move?
Down 3.
Good. Move down 3 and over by 1. This
That doesn't give you numbers. Sorry.
is a 1. Okay? So you start here and you move like this. Okay? X-axis is over here. Y-axis is up here. So I'm going to begin at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to move down 3 over 1. Down 3 over to the right by 1. From that point, I continue. Down 3 over 1. All the way across the graph. Down 3 over 1. Down 3 over 1. Till the bottom of the graph.
Could you
Then you go
also go up?
backwards. Up and backwards.
Yeah, after I need to talk.
Can I borrow a ruler?
Yep. Bring your ruler to your exam, please.
I would. I like this ruler.
Yep.
Painless.
So draw your line. Please label it with its equation if you want your homeworks for that question. Is that yours? So y equals negative 3x plus 5. If you wanted to label with the original equation, you could. That's fine as well. I'm going to plot my line. So, question number 2, or equation number 2. I'm rearranging this one. The y is also positive, so it's going to stay where it was. And I'm going to move the x over to the side. So 3y used to be subtraction, so now we're going to add x, positive x, minus 15 on the right. And we're dividing everything by 3. So when I reduce it, these 3's are going to cancel. Y equals, what's this going to become? X over 3. What's my slope?
3.
Heard it? Yep.
1 over 3.
1 over 3. There's an invisible 1 right here in front of the x. Right? There's 1x, so this is 1/3 as my slope. 15 divided by 3 is 5. That's equation number 2. So when I'm graphing this line, I'm going to begin at negative 5, and I'm going to go up 1 over 3. Begin at negative 5, here, up 1 over 3. Up 1 over 3, all the way across the graph. Connect them to form a nice line with your ruler. And make sure that you label the line with its equation. Y equals 1/3 x minus 5. What's the point of intersection?
It looks to be this little point right here.
What are the coordinates of the POI?
3,
Yeah,
That's
that's
negative 4, 3. No, it's 3 over negative
3, negative 4.
what order do they go in?
X,
The
y.
x-axis goes first, so over 3,
Down.
and then down 4. So the coordinates of the POI here are 3, negative 4. What if I asked you to verify, check, or prove that those coordinates are correct? Jean? Yes. Right? So to check, I know you love those. To check, use a left side, right side check. When you're doing that, you're going to use which equations?
The original.
The beginning, the original, the typed out black printed equations. Okay? So to do that, we're going to substitute our values for x and y. Our
We have to do it
POI,
right now.
yes, our
No,
POI
no.
was 3, negative 4, x and y. We're going to substitute those values into each original equation. That means we're going to use these two equations up here. Okay, so 3x plus y equals 5. That's my left side, right side check for the first equation. And the other one, negative x plus 3y equals negative 15. That's the second left side, right side check. We're going to replace those letters with what they're equal to. When I do a left side, right side check, I always copy this out and leave empty brackets for my variables, because it's really easy to miss negative signs. So negative x plus 3y, it's supposed to be negative 15. The right hand sides are already done. And I replace those numbers with what they're equal to. So x is 3, y is negative 4. X is 3 and y is negative 4. And I just work them out. So following BEDMAS, 3 times 3 is 9, minus 4 is 5. Left side equals right side. That tells me that this point 3, negative 4 lies on this first line. Then when I do the second check, negative 3 minus 12 more is equal to negative 15. This left side equals this right side, which tells me that this point 3, negative 4 is also on this line. So if it's on both lines, the only place it can be is the point of intersection. Our conclusion is going to say what?
Left side equals right side.
Since left side equals right side, therefore what? Jean?
The POI is the.
Yes, the POI is, right? So since,
But it's not a word question. Do we still have to do it?
for a check you always do. That's your question
Fine.
mark. Since left side equals right side for both, therefore the POI is
3, negative 4.
3, negative 4. Anything else about solving by graphing that you need me to go over?
No, I don't know
If I were to ask you to graph a line with the equation y equals 3, what would it look like?
that. Pretty trippy.
Chief? It would be horizontal, yes. So quick side note, that equations that are y equals, so y equals a number, horizontal line, x equals a number,
Undefined.
vertical line with an undefined slope.
I knew it.
Alrighty, so let's take a look at substitution. That was the second method of solving for linear systems that we learned in this unit. It's the next page, yes. They're all going to be posted, and we're going to have time to take a look at them one, okay?
I'll do it.
Alright,
Okay.
remind me, when do we use the method of substitution?
When we
Gee.
don't.
Hands up. Variable by itself, when you have x equals or y equals at the start of an equation. So we use substitution when the equation starts with x equals or y equals. Sometimes I might be mean to you. I might not give you an equation that looks like that, and I might still ask you to use substitution as a method of solving. If that's the case, if I don't give you an x equals or y equals equation, then you're going to rearrange.
I knew it.
sort of. Technically, by that rules then, we never use substitution. Well, unless you say, shouldn't we just use substitution if you tell us to?
If I tell you to, if not, pick your favorite one. Pick the one that makes the most
Substitution.
sense.
Also that one looks pretty messed up. The
That's
4x
okay.
plus y
Yeah,
equals.
it'll be fixed in 2 seconds.
I think it's supposed to be 7.
So when you're substituting, what steps do you use? What's the first thing you do? Yeah.
You have them 1 and 2.
You make sure to use your communication steps. Absolutely. Half the marks are for following those steps, right? So follow the communication steps, number your equations, write out your communication steps as you go through if you want all of your marks. Once you've done that, what's next? How do we start a substitution question? Gene?
Sub the auxiliary to make it y equals y, or 2y equals y.
Right, sub the equation that starts with x or y equals into the other one. So if you have to rearrange, then you're going to do that, right? When we talk about rearranging equations, there's some examples down here. I'm going to scroll back up in 1 second. We talk about rearranging